everybody, and welcome. Episode 108 of Illiana Stock Car Radio. And tonight, this week, we begin our road to the races with our Kankakee County Speedway preview. I am Jeremy Banning, along with the brothers Brian and Chris Goodacre. Welcome in, guys.
Hey, hey.
Hey, I'm glad we're actually here this time instead of episode 108 and then episode 108
This is like
and then
108A
episode 108.
This is 108B.
Hey, we got somebody who was available.
Yeah, that's show business. Sometimes schedules conflict and
weather conflicts.
Conflicts and things happen, but needless to say, we move on. And Brian, nice to see you back from the Field of Dreams.
Yeah, I made it back from Iowa. It was not heaven. It was Iowa. But it was.
So they lied in the movie. Huh?
Yeah, I guess.
It depends on which sport you like. If you like baseball, that might be heaven.
It was nice because it was like 80 degrees and windy.
Okay, fair.
It was windy, but 80
You didn't have to
degrees.
pay for a hotel room.
Yeah. Props to my father-in-law and his wife had a room to stay at. I guess my brother-in-law, this is going to sound weird, he's 14 years old. He was a little late to the party, if you will. He actually headed out of town. We kind of swapped places. He came back to South Bend for a hockey tournament, youth hockey tournament, and I went out there for a race. So, it was a good time. Nippy 50 and Darkside Promotions, Hoker Promotions, they did a absolute great job. I think they got lucky with weather, and they got lucky with scheduling, because there was no World of Outlaws, there was no Lucas Oil, there was like nothing going on for late models in the area, and Miller decides he wants to be on the show. Hang on. And
I know. I'm sure I've got one of those in the other room doing that. So.
Yeah, so it was a fun trip. I headed out there and got to see family for a little bit, and man, they put on a hell of a show. I tell you what, and they did a great job on track prep and just running the show. And I mean, those guys, the 4 IMCA classes could have been questionable, but they all put on a good show, ran smooth, ran clean. And the late models, man, there was 44 of them both nights, and I think we had one swap. So 43 were the same. One left from Friday night, one joined Saturday. But yeah, it was a great show. And I think Bobby didn't have much of a challenge Friday night as far as winning. But Saturday night, Ricky Thornton Jr. had him on the ropes there, and with about 4 to go, Ricky kind of sent it over turn 4 a little bit too far and ended up falling back and not being able to compete those last couple laps against Bobby. But all in all, it was a great show, top to bottom, left to right, every class. We were able to pick up some sales, so that was cool. Made the trip worth it, I guess. So, if you ever have the chance to head west and watch some IMCA action or catch those big time super late models, man, even if they don't have a good race, I mean, they're still fun to watch.
Yeah, so keeping the dirt theme going here this week.
Yeah.
Move a little closer to the home. First season kickoff event coming up, at least on the schedule, weather permitting, is this Friday at the Kankakee County Speedway. So what better timing than to bring in Billy Nippenberg Jr., promoter of the Kankakee County Speedway, to preview the event and preview the schedule, kind of talk about things going on at the Kankakee County Speedway. So, I mean, we bring him on, see what he's got to say.
Yeah.
So here it is, promoter at the Kankakee County Speedway, Billy Nippenberg Jr.
With us tonight we have Wild Bill, Billy Nippenberg Jr., 7-time champion according to NippenbergRacing.com. Entering his 4th year as promoter over at the Kankakee County Speedway, here to spill all the details on the 2025 season. So welcome back to Illiana Stock Car Radio Podcast.
Yeah, you got it right.
You got it.
Yeah,
It's got it written down now.
Well, thanks for having me.
Yeah. I know we're gearing up for race season to drop the green flag here Friday night, but let's take a minute and talk about 2024 a little bit. You guys had some pretty good shows out there. Any big wins or maybe lessons learned last year?
I got a little bit of both. Last year we had opening night was our best night, the Lee J. Hall Memorial Race, which we're getting ready to do on this Friday. 2 years in a row, that was our best event. Most fans, I would say the most cars, but the most fans and the most successful night that we have all year. I think that the event itself does drag out a lot of people, but I also think a lot of it has to do with opening night. People have spring fever and they can't wait to get out and see some racing. It's before I even was the promoter here, I could remember racing here on opening night and seeing big crowds as well. So I think that's kind of the nature of racing. It seems like early in the season, a lot of fans come out because it's been a long winter, and then at the end of the season, fans come out because they want to catch it before winter starts. So that's kind of basically in a nutshell as far as how successful things can be as early and later. Um, Bad stuff, honestly, we've kind of weeded out a lot of the bad stuff. I guess probably the hardest thing I've gotten to deal with is how much work this really is as a promoter. Everybody thinks that being a promoter is what it sounds like. We're going to go out and promote a speedway, but it's so far from it. I mean, I'm involved from anywhere from cleaning garbage to toilets to unplugging toilets to cleaning septic tanks to track prep to and promoting. So I get most of my promoting done in the off season, and we work really hard to put schedules together and get sponsors signed up for the season, and get equipment ready in the off season and things like that. So yeah, I can't wait. We had a practice last Sunday here, and it was success. We had 85 cars show up, which is pretty good for a practice day. 2 years in a row, it was kind of like that. So if that's going to show us anything, what we might see this Friday, I think that's kind of we're headed towards a pretty big car count.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. A lot of people got the itch to get back at the racetrack. I know we saw on Facebook people posting they were there and excited to be there and putting laps in, and some people, it's good thing to have practice because they break and they gotta go fix stuff. That happens, and so um, looks like for the upcoming season, your classes haven't really changed. You're still UMP across the board, and you've got the Crown Vic class and the Vintage class back. So let's talk a little bit about the classes.
Yeah, so basically, I kind of jotted some notes down because you kind of talked about what we were going to do. And so, yeah, we've got the Big Rig Oil Pros Pro Late Models, which is a 604 crate late model division. It's been a pretty good success. Every year we get a pretty good car count. That is a UMP sanctioned class, so they run for the UMP points. We have the Express Power Sports Modified Division, which is, again is the UMP Modifieds. They call them the A mods. If anybody don't really know what's under the hood of those things, I own one. It's actually pretty wild to drive. It's 8-inch tire on 800 horsepower, so it's pretty cool. Then we got the Phantom Harley Davidson Stock Car Division, which is the old street stock division, and it's been getting a little bit of a makeover this year. They're going to add spoilers to them and a little bit more cockpit interior, and they're kind of following suit a little bit with what the Crate Racing USA does down south. So cars are getting a little bit different look to them. My way of looking at them are kind of like a super street stock.
Okay.
Then we got the Action Truck Parts Crown Vics. Crown Vics is my baby. Started it over here a couple of years ago. I've invested close to $60,000 in Crown Vics. I own 13 of them. I do rentals on them pretty much every week that we run them. We usually rent 4 to 5 cars. I did that to build it because I didn't feel like if you just join a division, you say, hey, we're gonna start this division, you get 4 or 5 cars, it might take forever to get it going, and I just felt the need to help boost it and get it going. And at the end of the year, we were getting car counts of over 20 cars, which was to me was what I was looking for. And I've heard of a lot of new guys building them, and A lot of tracks are following suit. They're trying to, grow this thing, and which is good. I like to see that because if other tracks are doing it, then there's more room for guys to go with cars and things like that. There'll be more cars available, and it's a pretty neat division because it's a stock class. It's affordable. My goal was to keep this class to where it's you spend $5,000 or less, build a car and go out and have some fun. And we're starting to see guys that used to race years ago in other divisions that are coming back racing, and they're like, you know what, I kind of like to try that. I want to have some fun. So they came out, rented a car, tried it, got the itch again, and now they're building cars. So
Awesome.
pretty cool. We got the low voltage solutions factory stocks, which is the old Pure Street factory stock division. They're definitely a little bit step down from the stock car division. We've got the Meineke Bourbonnais Pro Modified division, which is the 602 crate engine modified class, very affordable class to run. Looks a lot like the A-Mod, but basically the main difference is a little bit of suspension change or on cheap shocks, and you got a much cheaper engine underneath the hood there. You've got the First Place Oil Sport Compacts, which is the 4-cylinder little Hornets, Bumblebees, whatever you want to call it. These guys are they're guys, girls, both running this class. They're putting a lot of money in these cars, and they really get fast. Sometimes, you can look at the times. There's sometimes those cars are going as fast as the crate late models. So they're definitely getting with it, and it's getting more creative with going on chassis dynos and tuning and things like that. So, and then last but not least, I brought a division last year to Kankakee again as something that I thought would be really cool. I had a guy, a racer, an old time racer that's been away from the sport for a while due to an injury. Steve Thorson reached out to me and said, "Hey, Bill, I'd like to, kind of get involved in racing again and do something." And we kind of brainstormed on the vintage thing, and I just went with it and we put it together, and we had them 5 nights last year. I think we got 6 on the schedule this year. I will tell you, when them cars are on the track, the fans are watching, the people are up by the wall in the pits watching. It brought a lot of people back to the Speedway. Last year we had a reunion one night with the vintage cars, and we had a decent amount of vintage cars, and we had a really big crowd in the grandstands for the Kankakee reunion night. So definitely something that I was really excited to get back, and it brought some racers back that hadn't raced in a long time. I built one of them cars myself and put some old time racers in there that haven't raced in a long time. I had a 70-year-old man in there one night, and used to race, and I tell you what, every guy that I put in there, they got out of that car and smiled. I drove it the first night and won with it, and even me, I had a smile when I got out. It was kind of cool, kind of neat to be a part.
Yeah, I think one of the shows I made last year to shoot was that vintage reunion night, and got the BS with Art Fairman, and I know locally he's pretty well known. And I thought one cool thing you guys do with that vintage class, I don't know if it's a plan to do it this year or not, but that Bill Stevenson ride along, I heard some stories about winners of that getting to do that ride along, and I mean he gets moving in that thing.
Yeah, Bill's actually going to be out this Friday. He did another drawing. I think he's doing 2 or 3 ride-alongs this Friday. He takes them out there about 5 laps. He drives it in there pretty hard, He was wheeling around on that 56 Chevy that he's got. It's a really pretty race car. And Bill's a racer at heart, and he owns Stevenson's Auto Repair and Stevenson Custom Carts, and he's just he says he really enjoys this ride along deal. He says he has more fun doing that than racing. So
yeah. Well, he's not trying to win in the ride-alongs, right? He just gets to scare some people, get real close to that wall.
yeah, it's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. So now that we've kind of discussed the classes, what can the fan expect on I guess we'll call it a normal Friday night of racing? I know you got plenty of specials we're going to talk about here in a minute, but are we racing all 7 classes? Are we maybe focusing on 5 or 6 with a rotation? How does a normal Friday night look for you guys?
So Kankakee, we run 7 classes every single week, basically. I know it sounds like a lot, but it's what keeps this racetrack going. It's the cars bring people in the pits and bring people in the grandstands, and but I will tell you at Kankakee we run an extremely fast pace event. A lot of I would say 75 to 80% of our nights we were done by 10:30 last year with 7 divisions. It's like some people are they hear 7 divisions and they freak out. They're like, oh man. You can go to a racetrack that has 4 or 5 divisions that does track prep every time they run and things like that, and they get done at 11:30, 12 o'clock. I've been to a lot of them, over the years. I'm not bashing anything. I'm a racer
Yeah.
at heart, so I love racing, and I don't, the way I was raised, I wouldn't care if I was out there till 3 in the morning. It doesn't matter to me. But
Yeah, right.
I get it. There's kids and little ones and that they want to get home in bed. It's a Friday night. People get done, with work and whatnot, and we go on to you know, if they come out and they give it a chance and they watch it, you never see racing. And I kind of refer it to like, if you go to the movies, and you get there at 7 o'clock, the movie started at 7 o'clock. You got to sit there through 30 minutes of, commercials, most likely,
Yep.
and then you get to see the movie, and there's none of that here. Like it never
Yeah.
stops. And like when you hear it stop, like as a promoter, like I said, I could be cleaning a toilet or something in the middle of the night. When I hear the car stop, I go, oh boy, what happened? Like
Yeah.
there had been a
Yeah.
crash.
Right.
The only reason you hear engines stop here. So they just go one after another. And I've got a great race director, Rob Hinckley, that has put in a ton of work on. Him and I had a lot of talks last year, and I said, man, we just got to speed things up a little bit, and we got to figure out how to get this done faster, and Rob's great at that, and he,
Yeah.
he likes to hear that, because he
Yeah.
lives far from here, so he's got a pretty decent drive, and he wants to come and do this. He loves doing it, but he still wants to get home at a decent time. He doesn't want to
Right.
see the sun come up.
Yeah, yeah. I know there's been some real late nights at Shady Hill that I've been a part of, and there's been some early nights too. And I know last year the handful of shows I was able to make it out where we got the full showing. If you go back to I think it was July or something, I became Bad Luck Brian with it just seemed like every time I tried to go to a different racetrack, I brought rain, and um, but
Yeah,
yeah,
weren't you banned from Grundy at one point?
I actually think I was. Their race director had caught me in the pits and told me not to come back because of how late the night was, and it was like 10:30, 11, and I'm like, man, this is an early night for me. But you guys definitely. I mean, you're on top of things, and Jeremy could attest to this with racers needing a racer's minute, if you will, and oh, I didn't hear you, and kind of dragging the show on a little bit. But I applaud you guys at Kankakee, man. You guys are on top of everything, and you have a really good track and really good racing. And I look forward definitely coming out this year as much as possible to catch some Friday night racing. But I might have to sweet talk the wife on that one a little bit.
Bring her with.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, she likes to use the excuse of having to stay home and watch the dog, but yeah, maybe I'll talk her into one. So speaking of the schedule, I guess let's get to it. You mentioned this Friday, which when this release it'll be today. But here we are Wednesday, getting ready for the green flag to drop on the Chicagoland racing season. You guys are always the first now. I don't know if anybody beats you to the punch. But yeah, we're gonna kick things off out there at the Lee J. Hall Memorial. That's both factory stock and stock car kind of specials with a
Yeah.
few.
So we decided to split it up this year. Lee J. Hall, over the years, he won championships and races in both divisions, stock car and factory stock. And memorial races seem to lose their momentum sometimes So we decided to split this up and try to get some racers and people from two different divisions. It's $2,500 to win, $2,590 to win for the stock car division, and it's $26.90 to win for the. I'm sorry, $26.90 to win for the factory stock division, $25.90 to win for the street stock division, and I do believe that they should have a pretty good car count. Pays $190 to start. So I figured maybe let's try something a little bit different, split it up. I thought about maybe just making it a stock car event this year, but then a lot of people recommend it. I kind of did a like a poll type of thing. A lot of people recommended that, hey, why don't we do both? And I kind of like that idea, so we went with it.
Good. Yeah, I'm definitely excited to come shoot it. And then I know there's a lot of hype. There's a lot of excitement going on around Facebook about Friday night and everything that means. But after the opening night, you got 1,200 to win pro late models. And kind of a regular night, it looks like, and followed up with the Mars Modified Tom Pasek Memorial. Pasek?
Yeah, the Tom Pasek Memorial is a big one. We teamed up with Mars this year to have a Mars Modified only night with that, which I believe will probably give it some more. I think a better car count, better opportunity. Mars has got a great following with their series. I do, predict again. Last year we had 45 cars, and I'd like to top that. It was definitely a successful night last year. It was $5,000 to win, and mods don't get to race for that a lot. Fairbury has some shows like that, but for the most part, there's not a lot of races, and especially early in the season around here, there's not a lot of big pay races like that.
Well, I'm looking forward to that one too, and I know Tom Pasek had a pretty strong following around the the Chicagoland racing area here.
He was a super nice guy. Tom was. He always had a smile on his face. He was always happy, and he would always talk to anybody and everybody that come around him.
I know we got a few shots of him at Shady Hill, but I don't know that I ever actually met him. It was still kind of early in our time out there, and I may not have even been there. But I know last year that Memorial race got a lot of traction too. Looks like moving forward, Friday, May 9th, you've got the Badger Midgets coming back. I know they were there last year.
Yeah, it was. This will be our third year in a row with them. Again, they bring 40 race cars almost every time they come here. So, Kankakee was stagnant for open wheel. It hadn't had open wheel in a long time, and I'm not going to lie, we kind of struggle a little bit with those events. Last year we did something a little different. We had the Badger Midgets along with the Iron Block sprint cars. So this year we decided to split that apart and do it a little bit differently because the purse together was maybe a little too much money.
Yeah.
We got to get a little support, I think, from the open wheel fans and racers to come support it. This area, Fairbury included, doesn't usually, do very well with the open wheel race. You got to go south or you got to go north. We're kind of in the middle of all that. So
we're kind of like we're the heart of late models and modifieds. I tell you what.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a big money show. Now being in Indiana, we do have Sprint Week and Midget Week, and there's if you get south of Shady Hill, way down there closer to Indy and south of there, it's nothing but sprints and midgets and open wheel.
Yeah, non-wing stuff, Kokomo. They always get a lot of cars. So.
Yeah. Yep. And then so moving forward from there, you got a $200 to win Crown Vic special Friday, May 16th, and you were just kind of bragging on that class, and we applaud you for taking the first step in that and really growing it and putting the investment in, because I know it's growing. I know Grundy did their the cop, what's it called?
5-0 race.
Yep, that's it. They did that, and that kind of was my first introduction to it outside of maybe catching a stray picture on Facebook from the deep south down there in Georgia and stuff, where they race all year round. and then Plymouth picked it up, and now I see on our schedule over at Shady Hill we have a Crown Vic Spectacular show. So applaud you guys over at Kankakee and the investment you guys made in that and making racing affordable again.
Yeah, well, that's like I said, it's the one thing I feel like the sport's missing. If you got a 14, 15-year-old kid and you want to get them in the stock car racing, maybe they've been running go-karts or something like that, and you're like kind of burned out in the go-karts because that can be expensive.
Yeah.
And you want to go try racing, whether you've been racing or not, and you want to go try it out, you know, even the four-cylinder division's expensive to have a winning car. So,
Yeah.
somebody's going to go and they're going to invest, 15,000 maybe in a used running car, and then they got to buy a trailer and you got to buy tools and you got to have a truck or something to tow it there. You're gonna
Yeah.
spend a lot of money. So, the Crown Vic divisions, like I said, the goal is to keep it less than $5,000. If you got any kind of mechanical skills and a way to weld a cage in there or something, you could build it for way less than that. If you could get a car donated or get a car real cheap,
Yeah.
to be able to build a car for $2,500 or $3,000. We even do something over here with some of these guys with their four cylinders and Crown Vics. Like we got cars all over the place here. They'll leave them here, and
Yeah.
I tell them invest in a car cover and leave it here, and that way you don't have to worry about how you're going to get it to and from. A lot of guys don't have those trailers.
Yeah.
The trailer is more money than the car. So
Yep.
it's
Yeah.
a cool way, and I've driven them things. It's fun. It really
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
Frank Marshall, I think 2 years ago, he rented five or so of them, and it was him and his son, and then he had a couple crew members or a sponsor or something, and they all came out and ran them, and it was funny because his son, which don't even race, his son won the race, and Frank ran second.
Uh, awesome. Awesome. Good stuff. And then so moving on from there, we got another $1,200 to win Pro Late Model Night with some big wheel races. After that, you got another 12. You got a $1,200 win modified, supported or presented by Georgie's Closet. You want to talk about that relationship real quick? I know Stephen Brooks and his wife have kind of taken that on with a handful of friends. It looks like, and I know they're going to be a big part of race season coming up.
Yeah, no, so like Steven and Don Brooks have been a huge supporter of Kankakee for a long time, and they've been a partner or advertiser here for a while, and then Steven reached out and said that his wife was taking on this new non-for-profit organization, Georgie's Closet, um, and basically for fostering, they're helping families that are fostering kids with supplies and clothing and things like that. It is a great thing they're doing there. So I think they're gonna, we're supposed to be setting up for that night ahead of time. We're gonna be, advertising out here to try to let racers know in that we're looking for, you know, items donated and stuff, and they're gonna,
Okay.
have a trailer, and so we're gonna kind of, hopefully try to get a whole bunch of stuff raised, maybe some money. Maybe I told them we'll
Yeah.
probably, well, they can do the 50-50 raffle, and we're gonna donate the 50-50 money to it too as well. So
Awesome. Good. Good. It's always good to help out a good cause.
yes.
So after that, you follow it up with the big Summer National Show on Wednesday, June 11th. Then you'll take Friday off, and then you'll come back on the 20th and have another $1,200 win Pro Late Model. So, the Pro Late Models, is that? I mean, you guys seem to have some pretty good payouts going on. Is that? I mean, obviously racers want to race for more money, but you feel like that's kind of like fair, you know? I don't know what the question is I'm trying to ask really, and I'm kind of stumbling over my own words. But it's good to see payouts, and 200 to start. But I mean, like all throughout, you have a lot of specials going on, and there seems to be a lot of money in those payouts. Is that something maybe you pride yourself on as a promoter, or are you able to find sponsors that really look forward to helping out where they can?
So what we did this year is we put together a little bit of a program for sponsors. Like the Pro Late models in the modified division. If you sponsored a night for them divisions, for $2,500, we put that money into the purse, and then we give them a sign here, and basically all but $500 of that money is put in the purse. The other 500 is going to the sign,
Yeah.
and the racetrack gets a little bit for, everything we need to keep the doors open.
Yeah.
But the main thing is I feel like, bumping these purses up, is going to help keep the car count up, and the way, weekly racing, and I keep saying is weekly racing is a place like Kankakee is really geared towards weekly, stock car racing. It's not a special place. Like, it's
Yeah.
not as far as, like, we don't have, like at Fairbury, their Prairie Dirt Classic, I raced there last year in that event, massive event, lots of people, really cool place. But this facility, I don't own it. So it's
Yeah.
really hard. I can't come in here and tear all these bleachers down with my money and build new bleachers to where we can hold 7,000 people here like they can at other racetracks. So for us to have a World of Outlaws event or Lucas Oil event, it's not going to happen with our small grandstands that holds like 2,800 people. So,
Yeah.
we would, it'd be a huge loss, unless somebody put up, $100,000 to help
Right.
something,
Yeah.
So, it was a little thing that I put together to try to get the money back to the racer. And we had some success, like I said, Stephen Brooks, and, it came together and done that. And, I had racer, Austin McCarty, which was the pro late model champion last year. Him and his dad, they brought Heckenest Racing and that in here, that they're sponsoring the Summer Nationals night for the pro late models. It's another 1,200 to win, 200 to start race. And Meineke of Bourbonnais sponsored one for every division. They did a special. Meineke did a lot. I think they invested over $12,000. And all of that money pretty much is going back to the racers. So
That's awesome.
so like it's just, to me, I feel like, the main reason I'm a promoter here at Kankakee is not to make money. I'm not here for the money. I'm here to keep weekly racing alive. I, I, I'm not horrible as a business person. I do pretty good, on the side. So I make decent money in my own business, my real business, my real life.
Yeah.
And this is more of a hobby,
Sure.
and it's something that I'm passionate about to keep racing going. So.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's very admirable, I will say. Yeah. So back to the schedule here. We've got the American Sprint Car Tour, the ASCT guys coming back in late June. And then another Friday night on July 4th. I'm sure that'll be a good. Do you guys do fireworks?
Um, sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. We're all over the place. We still haven't
Yeah.
got that figured out yet. We're still working
Sure.
on that.
That's all right. You're only in year 4.
Yeah, yeah.
And then we follow that up with the asphalt guys. Mid-Am's coming back Friday, July 11th. I know I've been there for one of those shows, and they put on a good race.
That's really cool watching them asphalt cars. They sound different. They look
Yeah,
different. Yeah, people like it. It's pretty cool to watch.
yeah. I know that series has kind of changed up a little bit. Cheryl Wren, who we've had on the show, we've known her for quite some time, back to Illiana days. She has kind of taken a step forward with Tim on that, and kind of helping him run that show, with the Mid-Am guys. And look forward to seeing them around, I guess, all year long. I think they do a lot of Wisconsin stuff, but when they do come our way, we're excited to see them. And then followed up with just a normal regular night on the 18th, and then you've got a span here of looks to be about 4 weeks or so where you've got the fair nights and a bunch of off weeks. And then you come back big on Friday the 22nd of August with the Big Mars late model Big Daddy Scrap 40. You want to talk about that event a little bit?
Yeah, so we're going back to the Big Daddy night last year. We got away from it and we did what the Richard Craven Memorial. So this year, we partnered back up with Big Daddy. They do a special event here. They bring in a lot of their customers, employees, and stuff like that here, and they have like a business gathering, outing, whatever you may call it.
Yeah.
And then we have the 5,000 to win Mars late models here. With unfortunately, late model costs are so high nowadays that we still try to make sure we get them there at least twice a year, and that's what I've been working on. I've tried to get 3 in before, and it never fails. I end up getting 1 rained out. But this year we got 2 on the schedule. Be honest with you, I wish I could have open late models every single week, but been one that's been preaching to some higher ups for a long time, and I feel like our area, the dirt car world, I feel like needs a weekly late model set of rules that would allow all the different engine programs to be competitive. They do that in several different parts of the country and different series and things, and I think that if you could intertwine crate engines with big motors and modified engines, and then I feel like you could take and move some of the modified guys up into the late model division, and then you could maybe revamp some of the cost on that. This open late models are just, a rolling car. In fact, I just got a quote here recently just to see it was about $65,000 on a rolling late model right now, and that's no wheels or tires, seats, shocks. You still got a lot of pieces to add to it for that, and then their engines are over $50,000 new. So that's only a piece of it, So like models, over $50,000 for the engine, but then you're basically going to get 2 freshens out of it. You're going to spend $10,000, and then you're going to turn around and try to sell it to a budget team and build a new one. So it's not a real, profitable situation. So.
Yeah. So I'm hearing go Crown Vics.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. All right. So after the Big Daddy night, we're looking at another $1,200 win pro late models, followed up with autograph night. I know those are very successful in getting fans a neat experience. Come down and talk to drivers, talk to crew members. Be up close with cars, because far too often, I mean, even if you're done at 10:30, what I found out in the dirt world is once guys are done, they load up and go home. There's not a lot of sitting around and having beers with the buds. And honestly, I think asphalt's kind of gone that way too. Everybody just wants to do their thing and get home.
I would say yes, but last year when we sped our program up, I did notice people hang out a lot longer than in the past. And it's crazy is once they get into that pattern, then it ends up being out here wee hours of the night. So, there was nights there where I was crawling into my camper when the sun was coming up. So, it's definitely changing, but I agree with you. The autograph night is awesome, and I think that if we could, if I could ever figure out the science of having 5 divisions and getting over 100 race cars with 5 divisions, I'd have one of those a month, because I do like that, because it gets that interaction with the fans. The kids come out, get to meet the drivers, get their autographs, and things like that. I've done it. I've been to several different racetracks over the years, on autograph night, and it is cool no matter where I go. Even when people don't even know me, having them kids come up and get their autographs, really cool.
Yeah. If I could say 1 minute, you had won at Shady Hill and pulled into Victory Lane, and you got to get all your stuff off and whatever, and I know what's coming, because I've been in Victory Lane far too long, and it happens, right? It's part of Shady Hill's culture, but all the kids come running out of stands. They all want a picture with the winner, right? And you crawl out of the car, and you raise your arms up like, yeah, I won, and then you look down and you're like, where did all you kids come from? It was hilarious. I still laugh about it to this day.
Yeah, and I got to tell you, I was at an autograph night at Shady Hill, and I hate to bring this up, but the last time I was there on an autograph night, I was standing out on a racetrack, and I literally spent the whole time on that racetrack talking to your dad.
Yep. Yeah. He told me about it that night. Yeah. Yeah. He was good for a long conversation.
Yeah. Like
yeah.
I I don't even remember signing any autographs on that. But we were telling some pretty cool old stories and stuff. So
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Well, I know that the both of you have quite a few of them to tell.
yeah.
So after autograph night, you've got a stock car $700 to win by CR Towing, September 12th, and then followed up with a regular Friday night on the 19th, and then when is okay right here. Your last night of the season, Friday, September 26th, is personally, I think a very fun night. You know, I wasn't there last year, but I saw it on TikTok and Facebook and Instagram. But the River City Rumble Night of Features, where you also do mechanic races and powder puff races, is also your championship night as well. So if you want to talk about that night and how successful that was last year, and maybe you're looking forward to it this year.
Well, I'll tell you, that was the first year that I did the powder puff and the mechanics thing, and man, it was cool. It was really neat. It was a late night, unfortunately, because we ran more laps in all the races, and we try to let champions have that minute to celebrate,
Yeah.
and then we I also brought all my Crown Vics out, and I had a deal where they could rent the cars, if they wanted to get their wives or daughters in them for $50 or something like that. I don't remember what the number was, and we, I think I had every single car out there running, uh, and it was cool. I mean, um, little unorganized because it's hard because you don't know who's going to show up, you don't know who's going to be there. It was definitely a challenge, and I ran around and ran around and ran around until I got it all done. And
Yeah.
but it was really a good time for everybody that was able to be a part of it come and thanked me and really appreciated that, and I think maybe we even picked up a few racers. I mean, there was
Yeah.
from that, there was a couple girls that are talking about racing this year, and then there was also some younger kids. In fact, I know they were here. They were supposed, they were in the mechanics race, and they were here Sunday practicing first laps ever. So it's kind of cool.
Awesome. Awesome. Just growing the sport over there at Kankakee County Speedway.
Well, that's what it's about, right? I mean,
Exactly.
got to keep it
Exactly.
alive, and it's the
Yeah.
younger generation that we got to get out there.
Right. Sure.
Hmm.
Sure. So that's 2025 in a nutshell, right? I think I got about 10 or 11 dates here that I've got circled that I'm gonna make a concerted effort to come shoot and get to enjoy some hot dogs and hamburgers if I can get off the track quick enough. But is there anything on there that maybe you're most excited about?
Um, just my big thing is I just can't wait for hopefully some successful nights.
Yeah,
I play a lot of roles in this, so
certainly.
I hate to say this, but I don't really get to enjoy this a lot.
Yeah,
You know, I'm not down in it. I wanted to do this, so
yeah,
um, there, I'd have to say to anybody that's out there that that if they had that book, like the promoters for idiots or whatever that you know
yeah,
um, I would tell people that I've been racing for 35 years, and I thought I knew everything, to be honest with
yeah,
you. I always said, if I was a promoter, I'd do this, and I was a promoter, I'd do that, and I got to put a lot of different hats on here.
yeah,
Uh, I'm very fortunate with a handful of volunteers that put a lot of extra effort into this facility throughout the week, and like I said, to have a great race director like Rob to run that side of it. I don't. I will say that's one thing I don't know how to do. I don't know how to run my race pass, and I don't know how to run the scoring system. I can get on a radio and yell at race car drivers all night long,
sure.
but I actually stay away from that. I let Rob handle that stuff, and this year I'm going to play a much bigger role into the tech side.
Okay.
We've been looking for a tech guy, and I've had a couple people come to me and offer to come help a little bit here and there. It's more of a temporary. I'm still looking for that guy to be a full time, tech guy at this facility because I believe in that. I'm one of the racetracks that, around that do a lot of tech
Yeah,
and things, and because I believe in it, should be fair. It's
certainly.
when I first came over to dirt racing from asphalt. I mean, I raced dirt many many years ago, and then I raced asphalt for 25 years. And when I came over to this side back again, I couldn't believe that I was running a crate late model division, and they never looked at anything. And I'm like, and then you hear the rumors, and this
Yeah.
guy's that and that guy, you never know, but
Right, right.
you hear it, and then next thing you know, you're trying it, you're cheating yourself, and
Yeah.
and there's like not a really good feeling with doing that stuff. So, to come to Kankakee, 4 years ago, that was my big push, was to make it fair. Do tech, try to chase that stuff away, and then sometimes it hurts you. It does. It's a shame because you'll see a good person. They're a great person, great driver. You see them leave and go to a different racetrack because their car didn't meet the rules. And I hate to do that, but it's not fair to the guy that ran second or third or fourth. So
Right.
so I've got to play a lot of different roles. I'm at the track currently. When we get off this thing, I got to go out there and jump on a water truck and start watering the racetrack.
Yeah.
Tonight's our water night, so we'll water tonight, we'll water tomorrow night, and then we'll water all day Friday. And I'm heavily involved in all the track prep.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, I went out to Iowa at the end of March for the Nippy 50 at Maquoketa, and that's one thing that was just constant track prep. I mean, obviously guys are working on their cars or whatever, and staff members are doing what they need to do, but it seemed like there was a tractor and a water truck just running nonstop. Those 2-3 hours during like prep time, really. And I think a good track service is really what the outside of like safety and a few other things, payout and good tech. I think track surface is something that racers really look for.
Yeah, well, and I get a lot of compliments on that. I'm not going to say we have the best track surface around, but we do put a twist on it. Like I all year long we try things. We're like, well, let's see what this will do, or let's try this or that, and guys will come up to me and they're like, man, that racetrack was really good, and
Yeah.
sometimes I'm sitting there looking at it, go, man, I didn't think it was that good, but the
Yeah.
biggest thing that I have learned is, being the promoter is I like to look at that race and see a track that has passing and guys in multiple lanes
Yeah.
and things like that. It's a snooze fest if you got a choo-choo train around the top or a choo-choo
Yeah.
train around the bottom. Like that's not really fun to watch for the fans or myself even want to watch that. So we do try to, when I feel like the track's starting to get too bottom dominant, we'll push the tires out a little bit and get them out in the slicker part of the track. Or if we feel like the track's getting too top dominant, we'll move the tires in a little bit. So we try to move things around a little bit and try to make the racing to where it's putting on a good show. And it's crazy because you can see a really good driver like we've done it right before a race, and I'll watch a feature, and every car's running around the top, and then I'll radio over and I'll say, hey, let's move them tires in a few feet, and then you'll release the modifieds out there, and you'll watch a guy like Michael McKinney and shoot right to the bottom. It's like, wow, he like his dad must have been watching that, hey,
Yeah.
they move those tires in, like they're smart, and
Yeah.
and so it could be something as simple as somebody bumped a tire and moved it in a little bit, and then all of a sudden they're all running around that tire. It's crazy how it is, but to me, it's just about making the racing much better for the fans.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, I think we've fulfilled our duty tonight. I think we've got plenty of excitement and buzz going on over at the Kankakee County Speedway, and we want to thank you for coming on, Billy. We appreciate all that you do for the racing scene locally and I guess kind of globally. All those Lucas Oil and World Outlaw late models got to start somewhere.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, I've heard stories, of guys like Jonathan Davenport. He started in a four-cylinder car, and we know Bobby Pierce started in a kids late, and
Yeah,
you know, it's just they all started somewhere. You're 100% right, and not every racer is lucky enough to just jump in an open late model, as their first
right.
ride. But no, I really appreciate what you do too, Brian, and guys like thank you for having me on, and it's cool to do this right before an opening night, and
Yeah,
I wish I could open up three different weather apps and see the same thing.
yeah, yeah,
They're all different right now, so
Right.
yeah,
I got my fingers crossed. I got so many people like calling me, hey, you guys running? I'm like, guys, like I will tell you that on Friday on this one because
yeah.
I have no idea what to tell you, and the thing
Right.
is we haven't had a speck of rain all week, so
Yep.
that's why we're out there watering and getting ready. So, and the last thing we want to do is cancel. And
Right.
on a final note, for people to understand, I'm always an open book on this stuff, and it costs us a minimum of $2,000 to rain out. Like that's what it costs. It's like $2,000 just to rain out. So it's not ever something that you want to do,
Sure.
and but you can go into a night like a big night like we got coming up here and with a fairly large purse, and you could go and run it with a chance of rain and say you get the race in, and then nobody shows because there's a chance of rain, and you might lose $10,000.
Yep.
It's just a big risk. It's a big gamble. So it's one of the things. I'm not a gambler, but I had to learn to be one here in this business.
Yeah.
So like I said, Friday night we're gonna try our darndest to get this thing in, and it's supposed to be 80 degrees, and I can't wait because it's been
Yeah.
a chill here.
Hell yeah.
Hmm.
Well, I look forward to seeing you on Friday night, Billy.
All right, thank you. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank
Yeah,
you.
thanks, Billy.
All right, bye.
Or Brian's interview with Billy Nippenberg out there at
Yeah,
Kankakee County
Dad
Speedway.
wasn't the only good egger that can talk for a while.
I
Geez.
know, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
You got a little bonus interview
He's
content there. It's
he's a good interview.
yeah.
know?
I appreciated kind of what he was saying there at the end about rainouts. We've all been there as a driver, or you guys as photographers or fans or whatever.
Fans,
It's
yeah.
like
Oh yeah.
it's like, oh, they could have got the race in.
That
or,
is the worst damn weekend to have, is going all the way out to Morris, getting the booth all set up, getting parked in the infield, getting the cameras all strapped on, and looking over the turns 3 and 4 wall there to see the clouds.
Yep.
Like this is yeah.
Or
Well,
if you get like all the way out there and it rains, like enough to cancel, and then as you're driving home, it's nothing but sun.
Yeah. Yeah. Those
that
ones
that
are
might
always,
be worse.
Yeah, those ones are always the worst. But
Yeah.
good transparency though from him.
Yeah.
Kind of what that what impact that has on his business, and just kind of a behind the curtain peek at it. A lot of good things coming up on the schedule there, Brian.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, action packed, a lot of money to be won across all divisions. Really, I really got to applaud them on getting like sponsors, man, advertisers.
Yep.
And the kind of on the struggling, maybe not, somewhere in between. Not this super boom flourishing economy quite yet. Whatever way you look at it, people are kind of tightening up the purse strings. And so to be able to bring in outside money, which I mean, I don't know how much of it's actually outside. It's just people there that like being there, that want to be a part of it. And Billy just knew how to find them. Ultimately, like shelling out money for racing is not a priority on a lot of people's lists. So applause to them on being able to find that and helping, continue to fund the up and comers. Billy said it. They're not going to have a big show like that. Because they can't seat it, and I think one time, I don't know if it was on air or not, but he had mentioned, he's a dirt car track, so having that sponsorship and that, I don't know really sponsorship, but that link there, that they may not be so easy to get a Lucas Oil or World Outlaws.
Right.
because it has to comply with the dirt car and whatever their standards are. Luckily, like Mars is, I really think, on the climb. Izzo did a good job with it, but I think Matt Curl is really, to the moon sort of thing with it. And adding the modifieds to that tour last year, I know if you've scrolled local dirt track Facebook here as of recently, there's a handful of our guys locally that are chasing those Mars modified points, and that's exciting to see. And I'm sure we'll catch up with some of them throughout the year and talk to them. But to have 2 Mars shows, that's exciting. Mid-Ams again. I always talk to Tim at the memorabilia show. You going back to dirt because nothing's really quite been announced yet. Or maybe just like one has or whatever. But yeah, they're always. I've always liked the Mid-Ams. When they were at Illiana, when they ran Grundy, it was exciting to see them. I don't know if it's the short wheelbase or the thinner tire or what, but like they just. And maybe I'm one for accidents.
It might be the drivers too, because they put on a show, whether or not it's a good show or a bad show. They definitely put on a show.
I feel like those cars are a little bit more equal than like super late models are, and like have been.
Yes and no. I don't know the rules in particular. I know they got a full frame as opposed to an offset, and I think when they started anyway, it was a steel body, so it was like a mini NASCAR car. But I think now they've migrated mostly to 5-star parts. But it's still they put on a good show. It's they got the 8-inch tire like Billy was saying. What I can't remember now. It was one of the modified classes he was talking about having an 8-inch tire and a big motor. And
that was A mods.
Yeah.
With 800 horsepower on 8-inch tires.
Yeah, I don't think the Mid-Ams quite have 800 horsepower, but but still, that smaller tire got less grip, slide around a little bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
that series just seems to attract the drivers that are creative.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, which is good. It's a thriving division right now, and that Mid-Am series is doing well. You mentioned, we talked to Tim at the memorabilia show that Cheryl's kind of stepped up and taken the reins on some of that, and definitely interested to see how that correlation and collaboration works at the Kankakee County Speedway with them this year.
Yeah. Yep.
We got to put a bug in Tim's ear, because I was talking to Ryan Powell at Plymouth this past weekend doing mini wedge practice, and he said, "You know what? I really enjoyed that Mid-Am series. We need to have them back."
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah, they put on an excellent show at Plymouth last year.
Oh yeah, I bet they did. That seems like a track that would be made for the Mid-Am
series.
Oh
yeah.
Maybe not super late models with mirrors.
Well, I mean, there's that too. That'd be a great track for any kind of race.
Along with maybe a American Super Cup event too.
There you go.
Either way, a combo deal. Just gonna throw that out there.
It makes Stan's life easy.
Yeah.
Only if you guys can park on 2 blocks right next to each other. Not the little car has to go across the parking lot.
Yeah. So park under a grandstand somewhere. But whatever. We make do with what we got. It's fine.
That's right.
But yeah, a lot of cool stuff coming to the Kankakee County Speedway. Like I said, they open up this Friday, or tonight probably if you're listening to this. When it comes out on Friday, a lot getting ready to happen here in the Chicagoland racing scene.
Oh yeah, we're here, man. It's race season. We're full fledged. Like sure, I took a few weeks early, and did a thing in Iowa, but. Man, we just about finished up with the souvenir program for Shady Hill, and I know I've been working close with them, and I don't know that I've confirmed with them yet, but I will be flying home on the 26th, so I won't be there for Saturday night practice. I know Chris will actually be. Shout out to Grundy for the Spring Classic with the Mid-Ams and Big 8 style late models.
I think that's the actual Big 8 series.
Correct.
Big 8 series.
Which I guess they run
are
that
still
style
Big 8
car.
style. Yeah.
But a lot getting ready to go on. So I would, if I was you out there listening in the universe, if you need any driver cards or anything done,
now's the time.
Make sure to get with Goodacre Photography.
Especially since Shady Hill scheduled their autograph night the second week of the season.
So now would be a perfect. You get pictures of those cars where they're nice and pretty and fresh.
And
get them on a nice driver card. or promotional product to promote yourself, promote your sponsors, make sure to contact
sponsors
DC
like
to do
that,
it.
I hear.
Sponsors like that. Sponsors like promotion. What can
Yes,
you
they
do
do.
for us? That's the main
right.
question. So make sure to do that. Visit them, goodacrephotography.com, or at the racetrack. They will be more than happy to entertain you.
Hit us up on Facebook. Brian will probably answer.
Yeah, see,
Probably.
He's good at that.
there you go.
Yeah.
And as far as us here on Illiana Stock Car Radio, we are also on the Facebook at Illiana SCR, Instagram as well. And if you're watching this on YouTube, which I hope you are, at Illiana SCR as well, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Helps us navigate the algorithms and get all of our content out there to more people. So make sure you are doing that. If you're old school like me and prefer audio podcasts, we're out there on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever, YouTube, and Amazon and all that good stuff. Wherever you like to consume your audio podcast, just search us and we should be there. You should be able to find us there. Definitely want to thank Billy Nippenberg for coming on and talking about the Kankakee County Speedway, as we mentioned, and we've done the last couple years. This is our promoters roundtable, so to speak, the next several episodes, talking to the promoters of the various racetracks. So we'll have Tony Eldridge from Plymouth Motor Speedway on, if we can re-coordinate that. Steve Bechtel will be back on here in a few weeks to go over the Grundy County Speedway, and then Billy Alger from Shady Hill will be on as well. So definitely look forward to seeing everything we've got coming in Chicagoland racing this year, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Any business left to attend to?
I think we need to say something positive.
Oh,
here at the
yes.
beginning of the season.
Yes, our hashtag one positive segment. Just testing you. Make sure you didn't forget it. I knew it was in there. I just was making a test. So
I was gonna say somebody put the script together about 30 seconds before we started interviewing Billy.
That is a lie. I texted you like,
let's go.
No,
Let's
I need
review the
proof
film.
now.
Let's review the footage.
right here.
3:00.
3 o'clock, not
was-
30 seconds. Well, an hour and 30
Three-
seconds.
well,
ago.
3 o'clock
I'm sure
was,
you've got
hey,
your
I
notes
didn't
scribbled down.
Yeah, 3:00. Hey, I didn't do a script.
Yeah. And, I mean, really? Okay, this was the script, right? I just printed this out.
The schedule was the
There you
script.
go.
There's the script. Get with it. And as you can see, I read it the whole episode.
Yes, we know. By the timestamps
did.
here, we got it.
I did write 2 notes. There they come. Wow, Bill. And I counted 7.
as often as we give Brian grief for his first couple scripts being full-on scripts and not just a bunch of bullets.
Yeah.
We have
Remember your lies?
Yeah, we have completely swung the other way.
Dude, what do you want to talk about? We'll figure
Yeah.
it out on the show.
Yeah, we'll figure it out as we go
shit.
on the fly.
I'll say something stupid it'll be quiet and be like,
It'll
oh, boy, I
probably
don't
be
know.
the attempt at the name of this show.
yeah, yeah. As you can tell, I've slowed down the pronunciation of it, as I have to think about it. Okay.
I mean, and on the previous recording, I mean, that will never see the light of day. I mean, we completely skip over your nose hair trimmings. I mean,
Okay.
It's out there.
All right, we will. We'll discuss it real quick. So one positive.
Is this your hashtag one positive? All right. let's go.
One positive, and I guess it's racing related because I went to Iowa and I was in town for the race. So long story short, rewind, flashback, whatever you want to call it. I was at Rockford Ballpark Ale Fest years ago with my mother-in-law and her now husband and his family. And no, I was not at Rockford Speedway. I don't even think we passed it.
It's dangerous using that word.
I was on the other side of town at the baseball stadium, and there was a barber there just doing cuts, and somehow my mother-in-law's husband got in, and fast forward to like Christmas later that year, me and my now brother-in-law have gift certificates to this barber in Rockford, so we make a return trip up to Rockford. Still don't go to the Speedway. I don't know what I'm doing. I think I'm doing this wrong. But anyway, we go in and the guy's talking about the services, so I get a what the hell is it called? The hot lather shave with the single blade. Wonderful job. Lines me up. Talks about pulling nose hair, and of course now we've been drinking and there's kind of like an inside bet going on. And fuck it, I'll do it. It was like $10 or something. The guy just took so I have a mustache, so he takes a popsicle stick so that he doesn't get my mustache, but it's got like 2 Q-tips and
technique.
Gets the hot wax and just right up your nose. Gotta do both sides. So now I'm a mouth breather. It's terrible. And he kind of counts to 3 and just pulls. Okay, he lets it solidify. Then counts to 3, then pulls and says, "We didn't get it all. Gotta do it again." Oh my god. Anyway, does it again. Probably 10 minutes later. Not even 10 minutes later. Unbelievable breathability. You think nose breathe strips are good? Get your nose hairs pulled with hot wax. So
that's his #1positive and
thank you
PSA for the episode.
Yeah. Thank you to my.
There was no way I was not gonna be able to throw that back in here. There was no way. That was too good of a story.
I opened Pandora's box on that one. But shout out to my father-in-law's wife who owns Solution Salons in Makokata, Iowa. She is more than happy to pull my nose hairs whenever I'm in town. So I slid through and got to see her and got my nose hairs pulled. So filled it right up with dirt,
Yeah, did you get that done before or after you needed the filter?
Before. It's the first thing I did when I got to town. I didn't even go to the house. I went straight to the salon.
You got priorities, man.
That's right. That's right.
All right, Chris, what do you got?
All right, well, I don't have a fun story like that, but I'm going to piggyback off something that Billy and Brian were talking about. Drivers getting their start local before they make it big. And not really anybody specific, but since the memorabilia show, we were discussing that our setup's a little overwhelming. Not gonna lie, it's not organized real well. It's organized as best as we could with the time we had, but it's not. It's going in and seeing just that wall of shoeboxes full of pictures it's a little much. So, Brian and I decided that maybe it's a good idea to go through and put all of each individual driver together. So instead of looking for, let's say, Billy Nippenberg Jr. in the 01 and the 14 and I think there's about 4 or 5 different numbers he drove over the years in various places, we just have one chunk that's Billy Nippenberg Jr. So in doing that, I've been putting together a spreadsheet of all the drivers that we've identified, and this afternoon before we started recording, I hit 750 different drivers that we have identified pictures of. And
is that just Grod stuff, or is that just...
No, that's our old Illiana stuff, Grod stuff, and I was starting to work on our current stuff. But that's all asphalt. That's not any of the dirt stuff because Brian's got all that at his house.
Yes, I do.
So I'm seeing names like Matt Kenseth, Todd Cleaver, Dick Trickle, Joe Shear. There's a lot of history just sitting in a bookshelf in my bedroom right now.
Natalie Decker, Chris Bell.
Mm-hmm.
Who else? I feel like there are another couple. Daniel Hemrick, Eric Darnell.
Eric Darnell, Ty Majeski.
Yeah, Ty. Sorry, reminiscing. Sidetrack.
I saw it. I saw it for a second. A little flashback there for you.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's awesome. Definitely a lot of racing history there.
Stanzo Lotz the 4th.
Yeah, he's all right.
Jeremy Banning,
yeah.
the 1st.
Yep, the 1st. The one, the only. Yeah, good stuff. My #1positive, I'm going to give it to Billy and the folks at Kankakee County Speedway, something I honed in on. And he's talked to it before, I think, when we had him on last year and whatnot. And talking about the Crown Vics and how, he himself, took it upon himself to start that division and get the first few cars and run them out. Kind of jumpstart the division. For anybody looking to get involved, how many times do you search a Reddit forum or see on Facebook posts? How do I
Marketplace?
Facebook Market. How do I get involved? How do I get involved? Well, now that's a tangible. Hey, you can, if you want to get involved, go this route. You can rent the car, you go to them, show up, drive, see if you like it, see if it's something you want to do. That's a clear path forward, and not just you have to know somebody or you have to bring this much money up front.
Doing that way.
Yeah, exactly. So my #1positive is to them for that, is really being a channel, gateway into the motorsports world. So
And I think we've talked about it before. I know I've talked to a few people about it. The Crown Vic class really, it comes across to me as what the street stock class used to be when we were growing up.
right,
Yeah.
That's your entry level division. Like, I honestly, I wouldn't even call 4-cylinders an entry level class, depending on which track you go to.
exactly.
At Plymouth, yeah, the Hornets are a little more entry level. But you go to Grundy, and yeah, they've got the breakout rule, but there's some
4-cylinders
out there that are built up.
Yeah,
You heard Billy talk about that tonight too.
yeah, exactly.
You go to Kankakee, you go to Shady Hill. Side note, real quick. Speaking of 4-cylinders, Kokomo has postponed the Woomba 100K to win for 4-cylinders to August, with the projection of bad rain coming in.
So that race that everybody was preparing for.
Yep. Scheduled to be 18th, 19th, so Friday and Saturday this coming weekend is now pushed off to August 1st and 2nd.
Jeez.
So keep them cars ready. Go ahead, race them. You got time to rebuild them. But yeah, I mean, you look at the top 5, 6, 4-cylinders, 4-bangers, whatever you want to call them. I mean, those things. I mean, they can keep up with bombers and I don't really want to say street stocks mods or late models, but I mean they can keep up with classes ahead of them.
Yeah.
I mean, look at if you look at the track records at Shady Hill, now that we're qualifying people, and have the transponder loop.
Mm.
The
Ron Goodacre replacement.
Yeah. You look at the records there. I mean, the 4-cylinders are not far off from the other classes. So as far as like entry level goes, like NASCAR was win on Sunday, buy on Monday. Well, beginning class is wreck on Saturday, buy it at the scrapyard Monday.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the 4-cylinder touring series we had in on the Midwest Tour rain out last year. I think it might have been Vors. Yeah, those things could have been front-wheel drive late models.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So to have a starter, a true beginner division, where if you want to get started, go rent a car and try it out. I think that's a great thing. A positive thing in the local racing community. And if you out there listening or watching have a #1positive about your local racing experience or any thoughts positively about the local racing scene at all, go ahead and drop them in the comments below on the YouTube page or on the Facebook post linking to the YouTube video for this. And just keep the discussion going, man. It's all about community here in the local racing, and that's what we're trying to do. Community that will get kicked off again this Saturday night. Friday night. God, that was another test. You passed. I just default to Saturdays. I don't know why.
You Saturday people.
I know, right?
What if I'm an all weekend people?
Yeah, you are. You're a 3-nighter.
Yeah, I guess I'm actually a Saturday people.
Yeah, you're a Saturday people.
Yeah,
I just have had this one marked on the calendar for long enough. I know it's Friday.
Yeah. Well, there you go. So again, I want to thank Billy for coming on talk about the Kankakee County Speedway season coming up. I hope you all are able to get out there for opening night, if weather permitting, of course. Or some other time this season, or if you can't get out there, make sure to get to one of your local racetracks. Support them, support the local racing scene, and again, support us. YouTube there, Facebook, Instagram at Illiana SER. Like, subscribe, follow, all that good stuff. Help us help you, and help us just send all of this forward. With that being said, on behalf of Brian and Chris, I want to thank these guys for coming on. Thank everybody out there for listening, and we will see you guys next time here on Illiana Stock Car Radio.